Alright fellas, I'm just gonna do a little test on my helmet cam setup here, do a little walk around the bike, talk about the mods a bit maybe. First of all, let's start from front to back. It's a 2023 Kawasaki Z900RS Cafe Racer, and when I got the bike home, I absolutely loved it, but I had this vision for it in my head that I really wanted to bring to light. And it started with going over the whole bike and removing things like the front turn signals, all the reflectors, the tail section, and I installed a few little mods, but basically it was eliminating a lot of stuff that I saw that caught my eye, and I like to go for a nice clean look with all of my motorcycles. So at the front, on the front fender, I used blackout bolts to actually mount the fender itself, and stainless bolts for the fender mount to the fork, just to kind of take your eye away from where the fender mounts. Did the same thing for the front section there, the bolts holding on the cowling at the bottom, blacked those out, but left the windscreen bolts stainless, just to kind of fade away some of the stuff that I felt was catching my eye. Also the radiator cap, I blacked that out. I blacked out the heel plates, and I blacked out the passenger pegs, and then blacked out the bolts that are actually on the little radiator side protectors as well, just to kind of clean everything up. Got rid of the seat strap and used black bolts in their place of those seat strap mounts and little rubber washers. At the front, the windscreen, Zero Gravity Corsa. I love this windscreen. It's a love-hate because it definitely makes you want to tuck in behind it. I will put a couple pictures up showing how the body position fits behind it, but you want to tuck in behind it and you want to go. It's a beautiful windscreen, very functional. I absolutely love it. The light smoke Zero Gravity Corsa. On the handlebar setup, what I did here is I flipped the handlebars around so they were upside down, basically drooped down instead of drooped up, kind of giving me that cafe racer feel that I was going for. Eliminated the turn signals, eliminated the mirrors, and put a CRG 3-inch blind sight mirror on the left bar only, kind of a classic cafe racer style. Rigged myself up a phone mount, just from some Chinese eBay phone mount I ordered. It's made of high-grade plastic, so it's nice and light. A Puge tank protector, just to keep my zipper from doing any damage. And I've got an Ogio gas tank mount for a tank bag that I use for transporting my wallet and my phone or whatever else, keys, sunglasses. So as far as exhausts, I have had some questions about why I went with Delkevic. One was, first of all, I love the sound. Two, I really like the looks of this full exhaust system on this bike. It's the Delkevic full system with the 14-inch oval carbon fiber and stainless can, and it looks like it suits a bike of this period that Kawasaki's emulating, kind of the 70s, 80s cafe racer. And it's beautiful, it's functional, it looks great, and it makes an amazing deep sound. It sounds great, but not so loud that everyone, i.e. the popo's, paying attention to me everywhere I go. I kind of can get away with ripping on it a little bit and not making too much noise, and yet it still satisfies my craving for the sound of a Kawasaki 4-cylinder, because there's no cat, it's nice and free-flowing, and it makes the same power as the Akrapovic setup. Absolutely. There's no difference. You can check it on the dyno for yourself. As far as tuning goes, as far as that goes, I took the bike to Two Wheel Dyno Works, and I just purchased their what is essentially their mail-in flash for the ECU, just an over-the-counter purchase. They hooked up their bench harness to the bike, flashed it, and I drove off. No actually running it on the dyno. I just, as a regular customer that would mail in their ECU, that was the tune I wanted. We slapped it on the bike with this full system. Two Wheel Dyno Works. You can check them out at twowheeldynoworks.com. They have tuned thousands of these machines, and I'm telling you, the tune is absolutely flawless. It transformed the machine. It made it everything that I wanted when I first got the bike out of that throttle hand, that's for sure. Even though it was very quick, I felt like I only got a half a sandwich and a bag of chips for lunch. The flash opened it up and unlocked it and tied my right hand to those throttle plates in a much more connected yet linear fashion. And every time you ask the bike for everything with the throttle, it gives you everything. It responds much better, much faster in terms of its time from, say, 60 to 100 miles an hour. It's a completely different machine. She really rips. It increased the rev limiter. Their flash does a whole bunch of things, and I'll do a little video maybe reviewing their flash separately where I ride the bike and talk more about it. But check them out at twowheeldynoworks.com. You won't be disappointed. Now she revs like she's supposed to, and she revs out to I've seen as high as 10,700 RPM on that tack. I think there must be a little time lag, so I believe the RPM limit was raised to 10,500 RPM. It gives you a little over rev. It makes third gear a lot more useful coming out of corners. And then you punch on to fourth and fifth, and once you're at the top of fifth, when you're at 10.5 and you shift to 6, it doesn't drop out of the rev range like it used to in terms of the power band. It still pulls, not with the same authority as fifth gear. Sixth gear is a little taller, more of a highway gear, but it will then pull continuously from 130 to 150 miles an hour, and it'll finish out that speedometer no problem. So a fantastic flash from those guys. I did a Rage NRG Cycles tail tidy with the integrated rear turn signals. Do as much as I can to keep the bike street legal. Really all I'm missing is some front turn signals or whatever, but I don't give a shit about that. I buy bikes to ride them, and I ride them hard. I love them. What else have I done? I did the suspension. I went through the whole thing. I set the front sag to 33 millimeters and the rear sag to about 36 millimeters, 35 and a half, 36 millimeters. And then made sure that it was responding the way I wanted. It handles fantastic without a passenger, and with my wife on the back, it handles terrific still. Really good handling bike, even with a passenger. As long as you go through and set your sag and get your suspension the way you like, the bike responds really well. Beautiful machine. So there's a little walk around and talk around for you guys, and let's start her up. This is a complete cold start. I got so it'll do its rev warm up. That's kind of a high rev for the warm up. Riding position with the bars flipped. Love everything about this bike. Paint's beautiful. That black and gold works really well. A lot of sparkle in the paint in the sunlight. headlights, wonderful once you adjust it. Definitely was pointing at the stars when I first got the bike. Once I got the low beam where I wanted and let the high beam sit where it comes on, then good to go. Got in on the H2 contest with More Mafia. Shout out Chris Moore. Bought myself some merch. Real nice clean tube. Revs beautifully. Alright fellas, thanks for taking a look at the bike with me, testing out my camera unit. I'll see how it does riding. If it all checks out okay, we'll do a ride video where we talk more about the flash and see if this camera mount holds up. Hey Remington. Alright fellas, talk soon.